it's hard to pay the car and things like that, and then they lied and committed fraud on the fact of what I made monthly, and I never lied to them, and I have all paperwork to show and prove that.
We turn now to an iTeam exclusive we've been working on for months. They filled out applications to buy cars, but several customers of Lawrence Kia, well, they say the dealership inflated their monthly incomes in order to seal the deals. As Andy Alcock reports, documents we've obtained show a pattern of this practice, which could be a federal crime. And one former employee told us the list of victims is long.
Well, I went online, and just looking at what was available.
Herb Vance thought he found what he was looking for, a 2015 Dodge Ram pickup truck with low mileage within his price range. To buy it, Vance made the 4-hour drive from his Oklahoma home to Lawrence Kia and met with a salesman.
Then he told me that the Ram was gone. It had been sold the night before.
Vance says after getting the runaround for hours, he ultimately bought this pickup truck. Here's Vance's original credit application. The retiree wrote, looking for a half-ton truck around $400 or less monthly. We showed Vance that paperwork. Total monthly income, $2,000, right?
Right.
That's what you told him, right?
Yep.
He ended up with a monthly payment of about $1,000 for the truck. How could he qualify for such a large payment on a $2,000 a month fixed retirement income? Vance found out the dealer submitted this application to his lender, claiming Vance's monthly income was $9,961, nearly 5 times what Vance stated in his credit application.
If I'd have done that to somebody, I'd be in prison.
But it was very, very widespread.
Mark Kavanaugh left his job at Lawrence Kia in April. In part, his job was to handle customer complaints. He said the final reason to leave was when he was given a list of customers to call he provided us because they all had the same issue. Their incomes were increased on their credit applications for their loans. It was at that point, he said, he realized how widespread business practices he'd been questioning for months really were.
From the short time that I became involved, roughly a couple of months, I uncovered hundreds of deals.
Hundreds. And every time they inflated the customer's income to the bank.
Every time the income was inflated.
Yeah, I don't make nowhere near $3,500 a month. I wish I did.
When we spoke to Cody Cole, he was finishing up his senior year at KU. As a Jayhawk scholarship football player, Cole gets a $1,500 a month stipend. That income was reflected in his credit application with Lawrence Kia for his car. But when we told Cole Kia submitted the application to his lender, showing he made $3,500 a month, he went to the dealership to demand answers for a car payment he said is higher than what he wanted.
They got real, I want to say, paranoid about the situation and told me that I wasn't allowed to come back and I had to speak to their attorney.
I entered the accurate amount of my monthly income because I'm honest.
Sasha Jefferson said she didn't think twice about it when she submitted her car loan application. Then she later found out Lawrence Kia had increased her monthly income from $3,103 on her credit application to $4,403 on her loan application. That fact was confirmed in this letter last December from Jefferson's lender, Wells Fargo. The letter says, in part, we have reached out to the dealership and confirmed that the income was altered and that the dealership is willing to take the vehicle back and unwind the deal. Jefferson eventually settled her problem with the dealership. But after being told Kavanaugh was responsible, she decided to go after him individually for a cash settlement.
He offered to make it go away. Not once, not twice, but 3 times.
Jefferson provided the 41 Action News I-team an email exchange with Kavanaugh. When she threatened to sue him in a February 6 email, Kavanaugh offered $5,000 for a complete release and settlement. Kavanaugh's email the next day bumped that offer to $7,500. 3 days later, on February 10th, Kavanaugh offered her $10,000. Kavanaugh said dealer owner Chin Rajapaksha offered to front the money, but no deal was ever reached.
And the reason I did that was to avoid any kind of protracted litigation with her.
Kavanaugh denied submitting any deals to potential lenders at all. He said only Lawrence Kia sales managers have the logins and passwords to do it. And every submission has an electronic fingerprint showing which manager submitted credit applications to the lender.
I had nothing to do with it, and I just could not continue to be under that pressure.
One mess Kavanaugh said he helped clean up was Nautica Emberton's case.
I feel like I was set up.
Records the 41 Action News I-Team obtained show Emberton submitted a credit application listing her total monthly income as $1,600. But the application Lawrence Kia sent to Emberton's lender showed she made $4,311 a month.
I can't even comprehend how they're getting away with it.
Kavanaugh said he was able to get Emberton's deal reversed. Who was responsible? According to an email Kavanaugh's attorney provided, it was dealership sales manager and part owner Kevin Morrissey. When another sales manager sent Morrissey an email asking, "Kevin, what did you do?" Morrissey responded, "Clearly made $$, $$, $$, $."
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system.
We tried to call Morrissey and also left him a text message. So far, without response. But documents we've obtained show it wasn't just Morrissey. While Kavanaugh said the salespeople had no idea what was happening, our documents show, and Kavanaugh confirms, other sales managers, in addition to Morrissey, submitted credit applications to lenders with inflated customer incomes.
I think the people that submitted the deals, I think they should be held accountable.
In addition to Emberton, Jefferson, Cole, and Vance, 41 Action News obtained dozens of other customers' credit applications and the subsequent loan applications Lawrence Kia sent to lenders. In every instance, the dealer inflated the customer's monthly income in the loan applications. Kavanaugh said the reason wasn't just to sell cars, but also to sell high-profit items like gap insurance and extended warranties.
The higher payment you can get, have a customer pay for a car, the more products you can put into the loan.
Chin? Mr. Rajapaksa?
I got nothing to say to you.
You got nothing to say to me? After multiple phone calls, we went directly to Lawrence Kia to speak to owner Chin Rajapaksa. A document Jefferson sent us showed he was aware of her case last November. He wrote, in part, "I'm looking to settle this matter at your earliest convenience," and offered her options, including voiding the car deal. All the customers who talked to us, Jefferson, Vance, Cole, and Emberton, said Chin contacted them about the inflated incomes listed on their lender credit applications.
I think they're all responsible. I truly think that they are all responsible. I think Chin is responsible for allowing his employees to do that.
If Chin had said when the first person came forward, stop, it probably would have stopped.
You don't know anything about that? While Rajapaksa wouldn't speak to us, the dealership's attorney sent us an email. Referring to all the credit applications we've obtained, it states in part, Lawrence Kia contacted local authorities about the data breach. As for the income alterations on those applications, the attorney wrote, Lawrence Kia has made every effort to reach out to customers who have or may have concerns about the information submitted to their lender. I'm investigator Andy Alcock, 41 Action News.
Well, we showed our documents to longtime defense attorney and former criminal prosecutor James Spees.
Clearly egregious falsifications of income. So looking at that, I submit you likely have numerous federal violations here. It could be, depending on how these documents were transmitted, it could be mail fraud, it could be wire fraud, it could be bank fraud.
Spees also said if federal investigators uncovered enough cases, an organized crime or RICO case could be brought against Lawrence Kia. However, at this point, it's unclear if a case has been or may not be opened against the dealership.
Now to an I-Team exclusive. A Metro car dealership already under investigation for potentially falsifying hundreds of customers' loan documents is now facing a new accusation, forgery. Andy Alcock has tonight's update on Lawrence Kia.
Did you sign that there? Is that your signature?
That's not my signature.
That's not your signature.
Rochelle Papivas is talking about this contract to buy this SUV from Lawrence Kia in 2018. Papivas provided us with her original contract. Here's her signature. She also provided us an unrelated court document with her signature for comparison. Now here's the signature on a modified contract Lawrence Kia sent to Papivas' lender. That deal was ultimately approved.
Is that your signature?
That is not my signature.
That is not your signature.
There are several signatures and even initials Papivas said she did not sign on her updated contract.
This is not your signature, correct?
That one is not correct.
So you did not sign this document?
That document, no, I didn't. To be quite honest, me and my son laughed at how obviously wrong they are.
It is more likely than not, it's highly probable that it is not her signature.
Former St. Louis County Detective Linda Hartwig, through her company Documents in Dispute, is frequently hired as a handwriting expert. She has testified in both state and federal court for nearly 30 years. The I-Team provided Hartwig Popivas' known signatures, one from the court document and 3 others from Popivas' former employer. Hartwig said among the differences between the known signatures and signatures Popivas said are fakes are the way the capital R is made in Rochelle and the overall difference in smoothness. It led Hartwig to multiple conclusions about the questioned documents.
Those are not the same written by the same person as the person who wrote the known documents. This was definitely a simulated signature. Someone apparently did have the signature of Rochelle and attempted to mimic her writing.
Former Kia employee Mark Kavanaugh remembers how the 2018 Popivas deal evolved. He said part owner sales manager Kevin Morrissey told him to bring Popivas back to the dealership a second time to re-sign paperwork. When Kavanaugh couldn't reach Popivas, he went back to Morrissey, who told him Popivas came in and signed the documents. When she later called, Kavanaugh thanked her for coming back to re-sign her deal. But Popivas told Kavanaugh she never came in.
I was very surprised.
Kavanaugh said when he went back to Morrissey to find out what happened, Morrissey told him he'd taken care of it. Kavanaugh then went to owner general manager Chin Rajapaksha, who told Kavanaugh to pull the deal's paperwork.
Chin had told me that someone else had signed the contract.
Chin told you specifically somebody other than Rochelle signed your contract.
Yes.
What did he say?
He was very dismissive of it. He said just kind of the cost of doing business.
Based on paperwork Popivas provided us, the overall cost of her loan was actually reduced from the deal she signed. As you can see, the deal Popivas said she did not sign removed $1,462 for an extended warranty. In addition to having her warranty removed without her approval, the I-Team found another difference between the contract Popivas said she signed and the one she said she did not sign. She agreed to buy gap insurance. If you total your car, that type of insurance will cover the difference between what a buyer owes on the car and what it's actually worth. In her original contract, it said her gap insurance coverage was for 84 months. In the contract she claimed she didn't sign, it was reduced to 78 months.
Forgery is forgery. You know that when you're doing it, that you're committing a crime.
In layman's terms, yes, it's a forgery.
After we showed Popivas her modified contract, she also contacted her lender to get her loan application. That document shows Lawrence Kia submitted her monthly income as $4,666. But Popivas in an email told us her monthly income at that time was $3,160. Within a few months, Popivas had to leave her part-time job due to a rare and worsening pain disability, dropping her income to less than $2,000 a month. Paying for medicine and raising a teenage boy, she said she was already so strapped she was paying her utilities with her credit card.
I don't see how I would have been approved for a car loan that high when I'm only receiving that limited amount of money.
The day after we contacted Lawrence Kia's attorney to get comment on Popivas' forgery claims, Popivas said Rajapaksha called her offering to make the deal right. It prompted an email exchange between Popivas and Rajapaksha. On July 16th, Popivas wrote, "Someone in your dealership forged my signature on the contract to purchase my vehicle multiple times." She also wrote, "Someone inflated my income when it was submitted to obtain my car loan." And Popivas added, each of these occurrences is a felony in all 50 states and is punishable by a range of penalties, including jail or prison time, significant fines, probation, and restitution. She also asked Rajapaksha to pay off the $17,145.09 she still owes on her vehicle and reimbursement of the money she paid from the date the, quote, forgeries occurred, $8,709.84. Rajapaksha's ultimate response came on July 22nd. It said, in part, "Your demand is respectfully but necessarily declined." Rajapaksha also noted Popivas' deal has an arbitration provision. Rajapaksha wrote, "We will be glad to submit this matter to arbitration so that the problem can be fully and finally resolved." I'm investigator Andy Alcock, 41 Action News.
Popivas declined the dealership's arbitration offer. She's now seeking further legal advice. No one representing Lawrence Kia responded to our request for comment on those forgery claims.
We start tonight with an I-Team exclusive with many twists and turns. A Kansas City man accused of leading police on a chase in a stolen car that ended in an innocent man's death.
In a surprising twist, 41 Action News has learned that man was released from jail months earlier, despite multiple felony charges filed against him. Court records also show he was ordered to stay out of Kansas City, but obviously didn't. I-Team reporter Andy Alcock explains.
Here's the scene of a deadly crash on Lawn Avenue on August 24th. Federal court records claim 19-year-old Darrell Wade was driving a stolen car with Curtis Daniels and Michael Brown as passengers when Wade crashed into Ricky Donaldson's car, killing him. Donaldson, a Chiefs fan and graduate of Southeast High School, was 52 years old. Cindy Juarez ran outside her home when she heard the crash. It's kind of scary, isn't it?
It is scary. That's why we don't let I have two nieces that live here with me. That's why we don't let the kids out here a lot, or our pets out here, just because this is a really bad area where a lot of people wreck a lot.
According to investigators, it all started here at this apartment complex. A man was returning home when Wade and his friends robbed that man at gunpoint. They took his cell phone, then they took his car keys. Then they took off in his car. Kansas City police officers spotted the car about a half hour after it was reported stolen, heading southbound on Lister at about 23rd Street. When Wade, Daniels, and Brown saw the officers, court records state they took off. A high-speed chase of about a mile loop ensued, reaching speeds up to 75 miles per hour before it ended with a deadly collision at 23rd and Lawn, killing Ricky Donaldson. Officers arrested Daniels without incident. Brown ran away. Police caught him hiding near this grill in a family's backyard. Court records state Wade limped out of the car, pulled a gun from his waistband, and tossed it on the ground.
We did see the police dog out here, K9. They were looking for something.
Court records show that carjacking and fatal crash arrest was not Wade's first run-in with the law. In August 2019, court records also say Wade and two associates followed two men into and out of here at the Jubilee Market. According to investigators, a short time later, Wade stole one of the men's wallets and then shot him in the knee. The incident was captured on a surveillance camera outside Hope City, a neighborhood church and community center. Pastor Richie Bickle watched that surveillance video.
They just walked up and robbed him, and because he didn't have any money, they actually shot him.
And you could hear that on the tape?
Oh, yeah. Yes. Yes, you could hear that on the tape.
A grand jury indicted Wade on 6 felonies. However, this past April, 8 months after his arrest and charges, court records show Wade asked for and was granted a bond modification. He was released on his own recognizance with a condition he have no contact with the victim, could not possess any firearms, and must live with his mom in St. Louis. Not abiding by that agreement, months later in Kansas City, Wade now faces federal charges in the carjacking and crash.
I think he's one of 100 people I've seen in the exact same situation. This neighborhood is inundated with violent criminals who have been released for violent charges.
Court records show Jackson County Assistant Prosecutor Jordan Burgess did not object to Wade's release from jail in April. A spokesman for the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office said COVID concerns, Wade just turning 19, and his promise to stay with his mom in St. Louis were all factors in Wade's release from jail. Defense attorney Tracy Spradlin, who is not associated with this case, told us the Missouri Supreme Court's Bond Reform Act in 2019 places the burden on the state to keep a suspect in jail. In particular, the state needs to prove the suspect is a flight risk because of missing previous court dates or is a danger to the community. In his original bond document from the 2019 case, it states Wade poses a threat to the victim as he shot the victim while depriving him of his property. Still, Judge Justine E. Del Muro approved his release. In an unusual twist, the I-Team confirmed Wade was in Kansas City police custody 3 days before the carjacking and crash. Doorbell video we obtained shows a scuffle between LaShonda Fowler and Wade's girlfriend and her sister. KCPD records show Fowler met with police at Research Hospital to file an assault charge. We tracked down Wade's girlfriend. She declined to appear on camera but confirmed Wade was there at the time of the scuffle but said he wasn't involved. So it was you, your sister, and your boyfriend who is Darrell Wade. You were all taken into custody on this issue, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. But none of you did what she claimed?
No, sir. No. It was false police report. Everything that she said was false.
No charges were filed in the case, and everyone, including Wade, was released from custody. Wade's release came despite an apparent violation of his bond agreement in the 2019 robbery and shooting case. Again, court records show Wade was supposed to be living with his mom in St. Louis. However, a KCPD spokesperson told us, quote, it would not be standard practice for a detention person to have access to a bond order or pretrial conditions, and that the onus to enforce a bond order would be on the courts. A spokesperson for the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office said there's no record to show KCPD ever contacted that office about Wade's detention in the assault claim. For those reasons, Wade was released from custody. Days later, he's accused of the carjacking and crash that killed Ricky Donaldson. I'm investigator Andy Alcock, 41 Action News.
The state's case against Wade is now in the hands of the Cass County Prosecutor's Office. That's because court documents state Ricky Donaldson was the son of a victim's advocate in the Jackson County Prosecutor's Office. Wade currently remains in federal custody on the carjacking and crash charges.
Turning now to the story 41 Action News first broke today. The city of Overland Park paid a former officer more than $80,000 to resign. This after he shot and killed an unarmed teen, John Albers, who was backing out of his driveway more than 2 years ago. Well, the 41 Action News I-Team obtained documents showing the payout, which the city of Overland Park confirmed today.
And the I-Team's Andy Alcock talked to Albers' mother for this exclusive story after she learned about the deal.
The dollars and the data speak for themselves, and I'm stunned.
Sheila Albers is reacting to a taxpayer-funded payout given to former Overland Park police officer Clayton Jennison, who shot and killed her 17-year-old son, John. It happened after officers were sent to the Albers home to check on a call stating the teen might be suicidal. A neighbor's doorbell camera captured video the night of the shooting in January 2018. It shows Officer Jennison approaching as the garage door starts to open and the teen starts to back up the family's minivan. But before the shooting. In February 2018, 1 month after the Albers fatal shooting, Overland Park Police Chief Frank Donchez and Johnson County District Attorney Steve Howe announced Jennison would not be charged with a crime. Chief Donchez specifically said the officer, who he did not name at the time, resigned, citing personal reasons.
False. It's just a false statement. He may have resigned, but he resigned under pressure.
After the 41 Action News I-Team exclusively obtained documents showing Jennison's salary increased from roughly $46,000 in 2017 to over $81,000 in 2018, even though Jennison resigned barely 2 months into 2018, the city of Overland Park sent us this statement. It reads in part, in the best interest of the community, city officials negotiated an agreement with former Overland Park police officer Clayton Jennison, which resulted in his voluntary resignation and the city providing a final compensation package. That compensation package included $11,040 in regular pay, comp time, vacation, and holiday pay. It also included $70,000 for, quote, the severance payment. In 2018, both Donchez and Howe said Jennison fired his weapon out of fear he would get run over. Here's what Howe said in 2018.
And we believe that based on the evidence that we have available, that was a reasonable belief.
What Donchez and Howe did was obstruct justice by not releasing the truth.
In the Albers family wrongful death lawsuit, which resulted in a cash settlement, a federal judge ruled Jennison was never in the path of the minivan and did not act reasonably. I'm investigator Andy Alcock, 41 Action News.
Johnson County and Overland Park have never released investigation documents of the shooting to the public. Sheila Albers calls it a, quote, disgusting lack of transparency. Earlier this year, she helped fight for a bill to release records surrounding officer-involved shootings, but the bill died in committee last month.
Welcome back. It's just about 6:15 this morning. March is Women's History Month, and all month long we are celebrating the contributions of local women to the KC area's history, innovation, culture, and society. For more than 60 years, the Kansas City Ballet has captivated audiences with its unique and classical art form. New this morning, Andy Alcock celebrates the 100th birthday of the raven-haired ballerina with the riveting gaze who started it all.
This old building south of the train tracks in downtown Kansas City used to provide power for Union Station. Now, there's a different kind of energy here. Oscar Miller began taking classes at the Kansas City Ballet School when he was a little more than a toddler. Next year, the 18-year-old Shawnee Mission East High School senior will join the ballet's professional company.
It's funny to look back on me starting dance when I was 3 years old and just being completely new to that world and having come so far.
The dreams of young people like Oscar Miller are possible in part because of a young woman who came to Kansas City more than 60 years ago. Tatiana Dokudovska was short in stature, but she became a giant in the Kansas City arts community. In 1954, Dokudovska came to Kansas City to perform with New York's American Ballet Theater. She never left. After accepting a teaching contract at what is now the UMKC Conservatory of Music and Dance, in 1957 she took 25 of her top students to become the first version of the Kansas City Ballet.
She infused all of her work with love and passion.
Dokudovska served as the Kansas City Ballet's artistic director for 20 years and then taught at the UMKC Conservatory for another 13 years. A stern disciplinarian, Miss Tanya, as her students called her, tapped a stick on the floor to keep the dance beat.
The funny thing about the stick is that it kind of fell out of fashion in teaching, but with COVID, now everybody's thinking, maybe that's a really good idea.
For nearly 50 years, Miss Tanya was the grande dame of Kansas City's ballet until her death in 2005. But in a very real way, she's still very much with us. You can see her in the grace and beauty of a budding ballerina, in an instructor's care for detail, and you can see her in the fulfillment of students' dreams.
Just being able to show people my creativity and the artistry I can bring to an age-old technique, it's really a wonderful thing.
I'm Andy Alcock, 41 Action News.
Oh, and her legacy continuing to bless this city. Kansas City is one of the few Midwestern cities to have a ballet company. The ballet is largely funded by corporate and private sponsors. Wow, incredible.